before you go see the most anticipated comic book supervillain movie of all time, by default, with some of the most badass supervillains in DC that are completely overshadowed by Harley Quinn and the Joker, return to DC's first attempt to make a movie about a villain-ish character, Catwoman.
Dom, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm using the movie guy voice this episode. I think it sounds cooler.
My sensors indicate you sound similar to a 53-year-old woman who has taken up smoking.
Come on, dude. It's entertaining and funny because the movie guy doesn't usually say stuff like this. Huh?
First, other humans mimic the voice better than you do. Second, it is not funny.
Oh yeah? Well, you're not funny.
Knock, knock.
Oh no, you're not getting me with that one. Yeah, this is a thing that happened. Up until this movie's announcement in 1993, DC had only made Superman and Batman titles. But Michelle Pfeiffer's role as Catwoman in Batman Returns inspired DC enough to warrant her own spin-off, even if it did take them 11 years to make.
Although it was originally intended that Michelle Pfeiffer would recomprise her role as the Catwoman, she dropped out of the position. Her replacement Ashley Judd also dropped out, until eventually they found someone unintelligent or desperate enough to join in this decade-in-the-making film. Dom. Film.
Here's a fun fact. The writer of Batman Returns turned in the script for Catwoman on the same day that Batman Returns was released in theaters. If the fact that this movie was written in the 90s and not released until 2004 doesn't surprise you, then maybe knowing that Tim Burton was supposed to direct it will.
At least he could understand how terrible this film would be.
Ooh, Woz, you are ruthless today.
Not as ruthless as director Pitoff. It appears he hated watchable action sequences and sensible stunts.
Oh, snap. Come on, give me some.
Strap in for a movie whose director stated that it was different from Batman, different from Spider-Man, and then ended up making the most cliché and boring superhero movie you will ever watch, with story points like a down-on-their-luck protagonist, an attractive love interest who they can't be with because getting magic powers from super animals, a wise old mentor with all the answers, making your own costume, and a final boss fight with another super person.
So, what exactly happened in this movie anyway?
Weren't you watching?
No, I got bored and I started playing Pokemon Go.
Halle Berry's character was a makeup advertising artist until the fateful day she stumbled upon the secret that a new product has severe side effects.
Right. Then she's killed to keep it a secret. Luckily, she was tested by a cat who decides to bring her back to life with superhuman powers.
Batman is a ninja with billion-dollar equipment. Spider-Man was bitten by a genetically modified insect. Superman is an alien from another world. Catwoman? A magic cat used its magic on her, making her magic.
What? You say that's a stupid and lazy explanation?
Deal with it.
You'd think with a $100 million budget this movie could afford a better script. But apparently all that money went into the overly abundant CGI sequences. But they still couldn't afford a good enough cat trainer, so they got a bat animator instead. Seriously, where did this movie's budget go? Here's another fun fact. This movie made $82,102,379 worldwide. And what's fun about that isn't that it didn't make back its budget, it's that it made $82 million. I guess name recognition really is all you need to make money.
Maybe the budget went into developing teleportation technology, or this futuristic comparison machine that can tell the personality of a human based on their handwriting.
Well, it's not an exact science. And the O, reaching out, insecure, handwriting of a people pleaser, very self-confident, almost angry. And the O, well, This person doesn't like to play by all the rules.
So they're different people.
Very.
Or maybe it was just the CGI helicopter shots.
Yep, that's it. Knew you'd figure it out. I can tell you where it didn't go. These jail bars. You know, the most disappointing thing about this movie is its lack of substance. This is a heaping pile of nothing. There's a by-the-numbers origin story, lots of unnecessary CGI effects and stunts, a black and white villain, and gaping plot holes.
However, we are meant to look past that because of the sex appeal. How shallow do they expect their viewers to be? Dom?
And to top it all off, there's not even so much as a nod to the comics. They changed everything about the story. Even her name.
What's your name?
Patience Phillips.
I'm losing my patience, man.
Let's line up the plot holes. The cat's test is to see if Patience is stupid enough to climb onto a ledge after a cat. It takes the detective 6 seconds to climb 3 stories, break down a door, and catch Patience before she falls. The 2 crane shots of this office are practically identical. No guards on perimeter or door locks stop Patience from going into the restricted section. Makeup Factory has a human-sized pipe. This impossible jump. Patience has cat biology too? Except here, because actual cats are way clumsier. Patience dodges this overkill flurry. Magically acquires a new, more intricate costume. These stage performers keep going even after Catwoman and the police come on stage. This impossible jump. Catwoman has her costume back after it was surely confiscated by the police.
I think one of the biggest mistakes with this story was that this scene...
But these side effects from the long-term studies...
That won't happen if they keep using it. And we'll make sure they do. Because that's where the money comes from.
I'm not sure anymore.
gives away who the villain is. But then the movie still spends half the running time having Catwoman investigate who the villain is. Plus, she gets tricked by the villain into thinking that her husband is the actual villain. It makes the whole movie very confusing and boring. I mean, all the suspense is gone if we actually know who done it. But then I guess Batman is the world's greatest detective, right? Not Patient Phillips here. Well, that truly was a terrible movie. You know, Cat Stripper is a celebration of Hollywood incompetence. And at first I almost felt bad for this movie. Remember, this was 11 years in the making. That means the number of problems that this movie ran into had to be staggering. But then I remembered that this movie was only made to cash in off the hype of Catwoman and Batman Returns. And that made me feel better about hating its guts. In conclusion, this movie failed on every front. The acting wasn't believable, the special effects were gross, the story was cookie cutter. In fact, the only good thing this movie did do was end. Oh, thank you, God. I thought this movie was gonna kill me. Was. Check my pulse. Am I still alive? Not like that!
You still have a pulse. For now.
It's not how you check a pulse, Oz!
With that, we leave you with the final quote from the woman herself.
I'm not gonna be alive if you keep doing this to me!
First of all, I want to thank Warner Brothers. Thank you for putting me in a piece of shit, god-awful movie.
Listen to me. All my girls, get ready. We'll make it easy.
We give Catwoman a Z out of A. It's only worth watching if you are a pubescent male at home alone.
I can't feel. Can't you see the way I move? My chest, my flash of skill. Listen, nothing.
Take two. Huh?